It's here for on the flip side, no, Captain Ibrahim Traore, there's something which is actually going on in his home country. Now, this man, he's been the leader for Burkina Faso for almost 4 years now. And then when he came to power through a coup d'etat, he promised his fellow countrymen that he was going to put the country on the right track, which is doing, and then he was going to organize an election, a free and fair, and transform the country back from autocratic rule to a democratic rule. We've not seen that. Now, just a few months ago, we got the news. It was even confirmed by the British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, that there was an attempt on Ibrahim Traore's life. And ultimately, he succeeded. I mean, this attempt was not successful, but then he was able to succeed this coup d'etat attempt, and even an attempt to kill him was failed. Far from that, we also heard that a person who Captain Ibrahim Traore looked on or took as his mother, mother in politics and mother in this particular new field of leadership, she was shot dead. These are issues which were actually going around, and now it seems like Captain Ibrahim Traore, even around him, around his own circle, there are people who want to eliminate him and take his throne. Now, based on all of these sequence of things and what is really going on, Captain Ibrahim Traore remains focused. You realize that just recently he signed a pact with the Russia military, and now the Burkina Faso is arming or retooling itself with missiles and with also nuclear weapons and certain, weapons that will aid them to defend itself militarily. Now, there's a new update which is in, right? There's a new update on our desk in regards with Captain Ibrahim Traore. Now, according to Al Jazeera, it says Burkina Faso's government dissolves political parties. Now, Burkina Faso's military government have dissolved political parties. You recall that just a year or so ago, this same Captain Ibrahim Traore dissolved the Electoral Commission in Burkina Faso, citing that the Electoral Commission was not consistent, it was not free, it was not fair, it was rigged, and it is an establishment which is perhaps not going in line or in favor for the good of the Burkina Faso. Now we got up today to the news that Burkina Faso's military government have dissolved all political parties. So whether you opposition party, whether you are the current party, they have dissolved all of this. Now read this to get more clarity and more details into this. It reads, Interior Minister says multiplication of political parties have fueled divisions and weakened social cohesion. So according to the Interior Minister who is appointed by Captain Ibrahim Traore, he's saying that these political parties which are in existence in Burkina Faso, they only create political division, not for social good or social cohesion. Now it reads further, Burkina Faso's military-led government has issued a decree dissolving all political parties that had already been forced to suspend activities after a coup 4 years ago. So remember, there were many political parties in Burkina Faso, but after the coup, they told all of these political parties to suspend their activities. Subsequently, the Electoral Commission itself was dissolved, and now the political parties have been scrapped. They've been banned indefinitely. It goes on to say the West African Nations Council of Ministers passed the decree on Thursday amid the government's ongoing crackdown on dissenting voices as it struggles to contain insurgencies linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. So according to Burkina Faso's current government, they are saying that they are banning all political parties because at the northern part of Burkina Faso, the very issue that took out the previous government that brought this particular coup d'etat and that brought this particular coup d'etat that toppled the previous government, that issue of the growing insurgencies at the northern part of Burkina Faso, the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS, those groups who are killing people, raping people, killing children, that issue is still prevalent. And it seems even though now that Burkina Faso have a military leader, the issues still have not been contained, or perhaps it's getting worse. Now, according to this particular news report is coming from Al Jazeera, there are still people within Burkina Faso who feel Captain Ibrahim Traore is not doing enough. And if he has not been able, or if he's not able to solve this issue of the Al-Qaeda and ISIS at the northern part of Burkina Faso, then it's right that he steps down. And that is why the government is saying that we are banning all political parties, because this messaging fuels people to assassinate, or fuels people and gives them the edge, wanting them to assassinate the current leader of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore. Now, it goes on further to say Burkina Faso's Interior Minister Emile Zebo said the decision was part of a broader effort to rebuild the state after alleged widespread abuses and dysfunction in the country's multi-party system. It further goes on to say here that Zebo said a government review found the multiplication of political parties had fueled divisions and weakened social cohesion. The decree disbands all political parties and political formations, with all their assets now set to be transferred to the state. So now they are saying that all political parties, the monies, the bank accounts, everything that you own, the government is subsequently taking charge of it, and then they are giving it back or they are putting it back in the country's, or sorry, in the government's account. Now, before the coup, the country had more than 100 registered political parties, with 15 represented in parliament after the 2020 general election. So they are saying that in Burkina Faso alone, there are over 100 registered political parties, okay? And almost 15 of these political parties were represented after the 2020 general election, shortly after the coup d'etat. So now Captain Ibrahim Traore is saying that all of these political parties are not helping in any ways or in other ways. Because of that, he's banning them and taking all their money, their assets, and giving it back to the state. Burkina Faso is led by Captain Ibrahim Traore, who seized power in a coup in September 2022, 8 months after an earlier military coup had overthrown democratically elected President Roch Marc Kabore. Now, it goes on to say here that the country's military leaders have cut ties with former colonial ruler France and turned to Russia for security support. In 2024, as part of its crackdown on dissent, the government ordered internet service providers to suspend access to the websites and digital platforms of the BBC, the Voice of America, and the Human Rights Watch. As it turned away from the West, Burkina Faso joined forces with neighboring Mali and Niger, also ruled by a military government, in forming Alliance of Sahel States (AES) in a bid to strengthen the economic and military cooperation. So now the BBC and also Al Jazeera is saying that Captain Ibrahim Traore have actually gone on far to actually cripple the country in one way or the other. Now, the reason why they are saying this is because after Captain Ibrahim Traore, got into power through a military coup d'etat, what he did was actually suspending services. So if you're in the country, you want to read what is going on BBC, CNN, you can't get it, because according to Captain Ibrahim Traore, these are media organizations which the foreign or their former colonial masters like Britain, France, the US, they use as a weapon, or they basically weaponization to infiltrate the brains and people in Burkina Faso, thereby fueling constant assassination attempts of Captain Ibrahim Traore, and also constant military or coup attempt to overthrow this particular successive government. So that's exactly what is really going on. And according to Captain Ibrahim Traore, this issue or these things which are going on does not really augur well, and because of that, they believe it's fair enough to ban all political parties in their country. And that's exactly what is really going on. So that's exactly what is really going on in terms of Captain Ibrahim Traore. What do you think about it? Do you think this is a step in the right direction, or perhaps you think that by now Captain Ibrahim Traore should have handed the country back, or perhaps turned the country back to a civilian rule, a democratically elected rule? That is what's supposed to happen. But unfortunately, your man says he still wants to stay in power. And then despite all attempts, he's rather cracking down on people who seem to oppose his agenda. So that's exactly what is really going on. What do you think about almost all of these issues that we have laid upon right here on this particular platform? We'll be very much happy to get your view on all of this particular issue that we are currently talking about here, right here in this particular country, Ghana. So that's exactly what is really going on. What do you think? What do you think about this particular issue? Share about this particular issue.